In this video, I'm going to review how to use measure and record to document deviations you do in the field that are different to how they were designed in the plan. This is what many people call redlining. So for instance, here I am in layout in my tablet. I'm laying out a sleeve, and as I walk and I get closer to that sleeve, it's becoming more and more obvious that in this case, a wall is blocking my way to lay out that sleeve. What I mean by that is somebody previously laid out the wall in the incorrect location, and therefore me laying out the sleeve must now put it at a different location than where it was designed. This is what I want to document. So one of the solutions you can do to this is to simply lay out that sleeve at a certain offset from the design. How you lay it out and where you lay it out should be recorded in your point file and on your plan. This is something that can be done with measure and record. When you're ready, go into the application menu at the very top, swipe down and select the measure and record icon. Rename your point to whatever you need to call this point. In my instance, I'll go ahead and call this an offset point. Now, I simply need to make sure that my crosshairs are where I intend to lay out the point. I'll go ahead and measure that point and let it save within the software. As you can see, I now have a red square indicating where that point is. Now that you've measured that point, you can check the distance that you've set that offset to and indicate that in the attributes of your point list. To check the distance, simply swipe down from the middle application window. On the bottom left, you'll see the icon for COGO, where you can check the distance between 2 points. Click on that. Once selected, you can then go into your drawing and simply click on the offset point back to the sleeve and observe on the right side menu what your horizontal difference is between the 2 points. Once you have determined the distance between those 2 points, you can go back into your point list, click on the Edit Point List icon, find your point within the point list, click on that point, select Edit that point, and finally in the attributes, simply go ahead and type in the offset that you found. That way, that information is saved and recorded on your tablet and elsewhere. Now you can clearly see when I go back to my point list that that attribute is listed in my point list as well, clearly visible for anybody that needs to know what the offset is for that point. Now there are a lot of ways that you can label your points. You can either give it a new title in the name of the point indicating the offset, you can add it to the attributes, etc. That's up to you. The idea here is that you can simply edit your point list however you want. Let me show you now how you can export this point data and view it in a software like Excel, where you can then do even more analysis and detailed reporting as you need. On my tablet, I'm going to go back to my project, make sure it's selected, and go to the job screen, and simply press this layout point icon and indicate when I see the menu that I'm going to be exporting my points, specifically my measured points, which in my case happen to be the offset points that I've measured. When you're exporting points, it's going to ask you what units you want to export them in, and this is just simply a preference. I won't go into the weeds here, but it's simply asking you what units you want the point values to be in. In my case, I'm going to have them in feet, the coordinate order, and for my case, I'm going to have that in northern, eastern, and height coordinates. And for the values in the Excel file or in the CSV file that I'm exporting, how do I want each value separated? And in my case, my delimiter will be a comma. Once I press check, I simply select all of the points that I want to export from my list. I'll go ahead and export this document to my desired file path, which in my case is simply my desktop. And now in Excel, I can see all of my points that I've measured, as well as their name, their attributes, their coordinates, etc. And I can do what I want with this document for documentation purposes.